Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while. We're doing our best to step up our game and give you guys some more content and post some more videos. We're super busy, which is why we have been having trouble keeping up with the channel. We're gonna try and step up our game now and give you guys some more frequent content and videos. That being said, we have this custom beauty here dropped off from another shop. They are dropping it off to us to have it dyno tuned to perfection. It's Procharged, fully custom built Harley S&S full crate motor. It's a carb bike, so we thought this is a perfect bike to go through an explanation to you guys on how to properly tune a single carbed bike, in this case a Harley. Kind of good information for you guys to know. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put this thing up on the dyno. We're gonna do a couple pulls, get an idea where she stands. We're gonna pull it back off the dyno, or actually we'll probably do it on the dyno. We'll take the carb apart and we'll kind of walk you guys through how we're gonna jet it and why we're gonna jet it in a certain direction. I'll point to the dyno and I'll show you guys in typical champion fashion. I'll explain everything you need to know to kind of actually help you guys. All right, so stay with us. Okay guys, so what you saw there, Okay guys, so what you just saw there was 3 pulls on the dyno that I recorded to have an idea of how this motorcycle is actually burning fuel or breathing. That being said, it's carbureted, so I only had to do 1/4 throttle pull, 1/2 throttle pull, 1 full throttle pull. I'm gonna take the camera around here, I'm gonna show you my recordings. So if you guys can see here, mind the shakiness guys, I'm trying to take a more hands-on approach with you. So as you can see here, the bottom is all that matters for now, which is the air-fuel ratio. As you can see, the air-fuel ratio went to, in the operating area, it was decent. Decent. And then as we're above 3,500 RPM and higher, it started going lean. Now, if you tried to correct this, you'll just run in circles. At the end of the day, that was me whining out, holding a 1/4 throttle. Obviously, the bike's gonna be breaking down and unable to burn gas as it's nearing that area of the RPM and you're holding 1/4 throttle. On normal riding, I guess, procedure, you would be switching gears or giving more throttle and stuff like that, but on the dyno we don't. So down low it's fairly decent. I am still gonna make some minor adjustments with tooling. I don't think we're gonna bother changing jets down low, but I mean we'll see as we go. So that's gonna be my low pull. I'm gonna open up my mid throttle pull. As you can see by the mid throttle pull, this is me dumping mid throttle, so ignore this for the time being for the dyno. If you look here, it's a little bit fat, and then it went a little bit decent. So what that tells me is that it is quite a bit fat because it went below 12 O's. It went around 11.8, 11.7, which is basically boost application area. Now that being said, this bike is Procharged, so it is technically under boost. However, at 4,000 RPM holding half throttle, we're not at a high boost area there. So it is a little bit fatter than I would like it, but it's not bad. The problem is, as it gets into the higher RPM range and it's building boost, it's leaning out. So we have to compensate. So this needs to be a little bit fatter, followed by this a little bit leaner. Problem is it's a carbureted bike, so how do we acquire that? So we're gonna get to that in a few. This is full throttle. Here's where things went awry. Soon as I snapped the throttle, it just went 2400 RPM, 26, as you can see, pig rich, off the chart rich, all the way to 3400 RPM. Then, if you don't know what you're looking at, you would look at the graph and it would go lean, and you would think, okay, the motorcycle's running lean, when in fact, that's not what happened. What happened is this motorcycle went off the chart lean to the point where the motorcycle couldn't even burn the fuel fast enough. So it literally was just falling on its face, not able to even breathe. In reality, it's not lean, it's rich. So as you can see by how rich it is, the top end is rich as all hell. What happens in these applications is shops that don't have dyno experience or access to a dyno, stuff like that, they tend to think, okay, this is a Procharged bike or a big motor bike. Let's put a big fuel jet in here. So they put a big fuel jet in here. Meanwhile, it didn't need it. This thing is so rich, it's unbelievable. So now the problem is, because I couldn't hold past 3500 RPM, I could not get an accurate reading under full boost. So we have to make one set of moderate changes, followed by another set of readings on the dyno here with you guys, and then we'll go from there. So right now, what we're gonna do, just to give you guys a brief idea, we are going to go ahead and take the carburetor out of this motorcycle. So we're gonna take apart the charge pipe clamps right here, take these breather bolts off. We're gonna move this Procharger unit off, disconnect all the vacuums, all that good stuff. So we're gonna take this out. We're gonna go ahead and pull the carburetor out. Once the carburetor is out on the bench and we have a whole pile of jets in front of us, I will get the camera back going and I will show you guys why we're gonna use, what jets we're gonna use to start, and then we'll go from there. All right, guys, so hang tight. Okay guys, in typical champion fashion, we're not going to hide anything from you. So as you can see by this little mess, rumble of experience that we just had, all we did the last time around is we changed our main jet size. We went down from a 175 to a 150. I know it's a drastic increment change, but that's because we needed to try and get at least a full RPM length recording. So we tried that, and we also changed the needle one clip size. By doing just that, that's all we did. We went from a 175 main to a 150, and we changed the needle one clip. Just by doing that, this bike now is idling off the chart rich when before it was idling decently, and we cannot even give throttle. So this is the problem you face with a carbureted bike, where you're doing something so basic, you know, one clip size on the needle and a bunch of jets, but only on the main, yet our idle has altered off the charts and we can't even give it throttle. So normally you might be discouraged at home working on your own bike thinking, oh my God, this is why I don't want to do this. This is a nightmare. But we're going to go ahead and pull the car back out, and we're going to do this process once again, and we'll go from there. Okay guys, so we've done our 3 pulls. As you can see here, it looks like a total mess. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna narrow this down for you guys. I'm gonna focus on the one that we're gonna work on right now, with the main one that's an issue. If you look at the blue one, which is quarter throttle, it was relatively decent except for one little spike. If you look at medium throttle, it was relatively decent all the way. Decent, I didn't say perfect yet, but decent. Now if we look on, this is where we need to work and then go from there. This is what we're gonna be doing. This is the top end, so full throttle with the main jet. As you can see, it's still really rich, which this is not a bad AFR under boost load, it's decent. So, I mean, we could just lean it out a little bit because it's not making much boost at that RPM range, and then fatten it up here. But as you see, as it hits red line, it's just too rich. So that's what we're gonna work on right now. We're gonna take away some fuel, just a little small increment on the main, and see where we're at. So we just did a couple more pulls. As you guys can see in the camera, we're not gonna bother editing out every single little thing that happens on the dyno to make it look pretty for TV or for the internet. As you can see, I leaned up and I touched something on the computer. That was me just changing my RPM signal because it was kind of jumping all over the place. So, you know, I was just making sure that everything was reading accurately. We did a couple pulls because a couple times I didn't get a full throttle fast enough, stuff like that. So the 2 full throttle runs, quarter throttle, half throttle, were decent. I'll show you them after the next time around. We're still working on this main jet situation. I'll take the camera right now and I'll show you guys exactly what's going on with the main jet. So this is 2 full pulls with the main jet. So as you can see, I'll take the blue one away because you can see the reading is only coming in, and then the only reason you see this coming back, that's just my dyno recording while the wheel is spinning. So what I'll do is I'll get rid of that blue line to make things easier for you. So as you guys can see from the red line, the AFR is kind of going rich, but then it's still just too rich, right, to red line, but you can see the line is getting a little more consistent. So we're just gonna work on that jet and take we're gonna go substantially smaller on the main jet. First time around we went 10% smaller. This time around we're probably gonna do another 10%, and we'll just see where we're at, and then we'll know from there. So when I'm done, I will show you guys the incremental differences so you have a full understanding of what the changes did. So yeah, hang tight and we'll do some more. And we're back. So we've done our final set of changes. We didn't time lapse this because I'll be straight up with you guys, like we're getting tired of this bike. So we're fixing little carb issues. As we were doing the carb, it was dying down on us. You didn't see it on camera, but we ended up changing the plugs about 3 times during this tuning process just to make sure everything was going to be crisp and clean. I'll show you the graph now with how it's finalized. If you look at the graph here, if you just ignore, honestly just ignore these lines, these are my torque readings, and they only look like that because my RPM reading was kind of going crazy off of this old carb bike. But to give you an idea of what you're looking for AFR, so quarter throttle is the red one. As you can see, it's smooth, only into the top end where it starts breaking down in RPM, because I mean you're not going to hold quarter throttle right to red line. So on the dyno we do it because we want to be able to cover every area, but if you look at the vicinity where you normally are under little to no boost, it's a nice air fuel, especially for a carb bike. If it was fuel injected, we'd get it a little straighter, but given that it's carb, this is perfect. If you look up here now, you'll see the blue one is just over half throttle. If you'll notice how it starts off lean, well, that's because we smashed the gas from as low of an RPM as we can, whereas you guys won't do that on the street, but we do it on the dyno. So essentially we're looking here, which is the mid-range, and as you can see by the AFR, it's nice along the 11.8 area, which is essentially where we want to be for a turbo application. So I mean, you know, we're a nice 12.0, 11.8 across the board where we want to be. Full throttle is the green one here. Same deal. I'm not looking there because we're not there ever in riding application, but we're pretty much here. So if you'll notice, it goes fatter right till red line, and it just breaks down because obviously I'm running it right to red line, which you're not going to do. Now I know a lot of this is just numbers, it doesn't really mean anything, but to give you guys a little rundown, the bike made 144 horsepower, not bad for a supercharged old carbureted girl. Don't look at the max torque, because I mean, this thing just set every world record in the world with 48,900 foot-pounds of torque. But yeah, that's my RPM reading going for, you know, taking a walk here. It just sends the RPM, sends the torque readings through the roof, because RPM is calibrated, or sorry, torque is calibrated by my actual RPM. So yeah, 144 horse. The bike's running good. The bike's running perfect for the way these guys are gonna ride it, especially. They'll be happy with the outcome. I'm gonna take it off the dyno now. I'll give you guys a last minute walkthrough, kind of run you down on what we did. I'll go into detail on what we did to the carbs from start to finish, so you fully understand, and I'll talk a bit on why we did the certain things we did. All right, stick around. So while we were tuning, some of the things you did not see on the camera was the customer brought the bike in saying the bike was running fine, when in actual fact, it was not. The vacuum lines, you see there's a whole heap of vacuum lines. You can't see them in the camera, but there's a whole heap of vacuum lines because of the Procharged application. We were under the impression it was running fine, so we were chasing our tails a bit when we were jetting, only to find out after the fact that we ended up calling Procharged directly. We deal with them pretty often, so they know us very well. We gave them a call, spoke to the boys down there, told them we were having trouble with this particular bike. We thought things just weren't plumbed correctly. Turns out after we got the actual instructions for this carbureted model, we found out that one of the main vacuum lines leading from this vacuum system into the carburetor was in the wrong place. That one vacuum line alone, especially because it's a boosted application, vacuum lines always matter, but considering it's a boosted application, it matters that much more. It set us for a loop big time. Bottom line was, we did a run. We did a couple runs on the dyno. You guys saw the lines were a little thick and all over the place and a little lean here or there. We went ahead and changed our main jet, tweaked our pilot a bit to kind of get it where we needed to. We ended up having to do that same thing about 5 times. We took this carburetor out of the bike, and we ended up having to go back in, back out. We cleaned the whole carb through the sonic machine just to make sure as we were jetting, and eventually we ended up figuring out the perfect combination that made the dyno happy and the motorcycle equally happy. We wound up changing the pilot jet to a smaller jet. We wound up going way smaller on the main jet compared to what it was. It started out with a 175, and after tuning, we're literally leaving with a 135 jet. We ended up moving the needle clip from the middle where it was, one by one. Each time we made a change in the carb, we did one little thing at a time. We wound up running our clip at the lowest setting we could, all the while watching our air fuel till we got the bike to respond how we wanted it to respond, and we got the air fuel reading correctly. Now, I don't want to do a hands-on video with you guys where even though you're looking at the video and I mean it looks good, if you're not a mechanic, a lot of the things you're looking at don't make sense to you, and I get it. And a lot of the videos you find on YouTube, that's the problem. A guy will be talking and showing you things as if you're a mechanic. I get not everybody's a mechanic. That being said, I try to make things as basic as possible. We wound up changing a lot of things here in the process, but the bottom line is everything was reliant on the pilot, the main, and the needle. Those are the three things that matter when tuning a carb bike. I know this video, especially when it comes to carb, there's always questions to be had. As usual is typical fashion for us, shoot us a message, ask us any questions you have. Every question always gets responded to. I mean, unless it's, unless you're not being a nice guy, then, you'll get a thumbs up. Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. We tried our best to keep it as basic, but at the same time informative as possible. If you have any questions, feel free to hit us up. Drop us a line on Instagram or on our email or on our channel. Come back for more, guys. We're gonna try and do more videos more frequently to appease everybody and make you all appreciate the effort that goes into some of these builds and processes. Here's a little walk around of this beauty. Once again, this is not our build. We don't want to take credit for somebody else's fine work. We are simply tuning the bike, and it was brought to us to have it tuned to perfection, which is basically what she got. She got tuned to absolute perfection. These guys are ready to have a good time, go to whatever show they like, enter whatever contest they like, take it to the drag strip if they really want to, and have a good time. All right, guys, we'll see you around.